Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome back to Star Trek Discovery, Season 5, Episode 6, Peak. Anyway, yes, we will be reviewing Whistlespeak this week. Last week on Star Trek Discovery, they found the ISS, and despite there being no shuttle pods left on the ship, the bad guys got away by shuttle pod. And now this episode begins where they found some liquid, and Tilly and Stamets have been doing tests on this liquid, and they've done hundreds of tests, and there's nothing inside. Basically, it's distilled water. The only thing in this vial is distilled water. They're doing all types of tests, and all they come up with is it's just basic distilled water. Well, Burnham is, the other clues had words. They had more. There was stuff about it. And Stamets is, there's nothing here. There's no shortcuts, says Michael. We have to do each clue, so we got to get all 5 clues. So Michael Burnham says, if chemistry isn't the clue, try something else. Look for worlds that had special whatevers about distilled water. Look for worlds that had droughts. Just look for something, she basically tells them. So Michael Burnham transports away, and we don't know if she transports immediately away or where she goes, but next thing she shows up is in Dr. Kovich's white room, and she assumes that she was brought over because he had some sort of update. He basically says he's got nothing going on. The scientists, not the scientists, the bad guys who got away, Mole and Locke, some other ship is already caught up with them or is about to catch up with them off screen. We're never going to see it. So what Dr. Kovich does have is the name of the scientist who created the distilled water. That maybe that would help. Maybe that would give him some clues. And Michael Burnham is shocked. What I'm shocked is that he's handing her a piece of paper, literally a piece of paper. And okay, so now he says this isn't replicated either. It's a genuine 21st century legal pad. Michael Burnham's like, where did you even find that? He says he's resourceful. Well, obviously something in time. When you can travel time, it's really not a problem to pick something up from the 21st century. Now we're at Dr. Culber, and he is talking with his grandmother, his abula, or maybe it's his aunt. I don't know. I guess it's his aunt. And she's a perfect hologram, talking in Espanol to him. And they give us at least they give us the English translation. Anyway, Zora paused the program just in case we were an idiot and thought she was really here. We can see it was just a hologram. Send a message to Dr. Pollard. We might be onto something with this grief alleviation thing we're trying. And this hollow of his grandmother is exactly as he remembers her. So he's basically got a brain scan. The program is continuously scanning his brain and making a hologram based off of what he remembers. He's telling his Anduella, whatever she is, that his body was inhabited by an alien on Trill. It was hard to describe. And she's, are you feeling okay now? She hugs him and puts her hands on his cheeks. He says, can you help me understand it? No, she can't. She's your grandmother. What the fuck do you want from her? Now he's pissed at the computer. He said, check the database. She should be able to answer that. He said, I also trained you to be a doctor, a man of science. How can we consider the soul when you have not yet examined the body? He said, oh, of course, duh. He's such an idiot. Michael Burnham had that piece of paper, and somebody has crossed out the names of several of the people. So it's fine if you had a piece of paper, but where's the pen? Where's the pen that's crossed out those names? Nobody has a pen. They were talking about maybe denobulins did a weather denobulin weather machines. So apparently there's only one planet that was in the way. Harlemno has one rain tower of denobulin design, and it's got a force field that saves the planet force fields to protects the planet from dust storms. And Dira says that maybe this doctor installed this tower as a humanitarian mission and hid it so that nobody realized they were interfering in the planetary development. We've got for whatever reason, again, Owo and Detmer aren't on screen this week because they're on the Enterprise. But we've got the backup bridge crew, Michael Burnham, giving out orders. So they make it to this planet. They know that there's humanoids down there. And then we get 10 minutes in, we get the opening credits. They hear whistling. They hear whistling from the surface. So I guess that's why they call it the whistling speak. Their language is based on whistling. They've already figured it out how to translate the whistles. They have a phonetic language for day-to-day. The whistling is for long-distance communication. And it's apparently, she says, it's common. You can find it common in societies. Oh, and this is a particularly progressive society because they recognize three genders. Just a heads up, when they actually do go down there, I only noticed 2 genders. But that's just, Tilly is trying to get Michael Burnham to come over to Starfleet Academy. Guess what? They have a new retinal tricorder. So this way you can see what nobody else can see, what you can see. So that'll make it easy for them to blend in, but still have access to their not weapons, but their tricorders. Oh, so now Tilly and Michael Burnham's left eye, their right eyes, left from what we can see when they're facing us. Their left eye gets all blue when they get blue when they turn on. So we have Michael Burnham and Tilly walking through the forest, dressed as something like out of Lord of the Rings, maybe. They're doing some girl talk about working at the academy. Oh, now they're hearing the whistles, and it's being translated. They're journeyed from the storms, and they need help. They're saying, head to the summit. It'll be warm here. And Michael's, oh, they're going where we're going. We've got Dr. Culber and Book talking as they're walking around Discovery. And Book says he wants to be there when they're debriefing. And he says, listen, you need to recognize you just got to wait till you're needed. You're not needed now. Booker is not so happy hearing that. And Stamets is playing with the pieces of the progenitor's clues. And Dr. Culber comes to Stamets and wants his help on doing a brain scan on himself. And he's like, "Are you sure you're okay?" He's like, "Yeah, we just need this data." And he's like, when was the last time we got to work together? And Stamets, there's nothing romantic as a brain scan. And little with Dr. Culber and Stamets. He's like, "Yeah, we can do this in the morning though." Okay. First thing in the morning, they'll do a brain scan. Now back on the planet, Michael Burnham and Tilly catches up with a big group of people who is headed to the summit. And of course, there's lots of men and women, mostly men, but it would be a woman who seems to be in charge of this group of travelers. And of course, an older woman of color just so happens to be the one who seems to speak for the group. Michael Burnham and Tilly ask if they can join the group. And she said, "Of course you can. Of course you can." So apparently this woman had cleared the dust so that the other people can make it with her. She's like, "Ah, you've come to pray for rain. We've done it." Michael Burnham says she really wants to go in the temple. And she's like, "Only the truly devout can go in the temple." A long time. "You really haven't seen it?" She's surprised. And now a young woman shows up. It's her voice that everybody's been listening to, that's been beckoning you home. She said, "Come with me." She's got the light, and now this old woman, now she's laying them down. They're laying her down on a gurney. And Michael Burnham's like, "She's his medicine. I saw her. I saw her inhaling it." All of a sudden now they're in I don't know if I guess an hour must have passed in like a second. They ended up, they're inside a hut. Looks like Gilligan's Island. And the kid is giving out medicine now. And now from 0 people to 5, 6 people just showed up. And they're what looked like bowls of medicine. They're just using resonance to spin the bowl, and the frequencies are making the dirt rise. They're telling Michael Burnham to keep hitting her back. And this poor lady, and Michael Burnham is about to collapse. Wow, they actually got Michael Burnham to collapse. She can't work hard, apparently. She can, but not for a long time. This other guy says, "Oh, I forgive him. Oh my God, there's a man." And Michael Burnham says, "This is impressive that you found a cure at all." And he's like, "I should have told you about how big that sound was." Anyway, so I assume this guy, yes, the guy is her father, the young girl's father. The gods don't require you to enter the temple to give thanks. And there's a race. Everybody says it's due. The only one who wins this race can enter the temple. And then they can enter the temple and ask the gods. And the kid tells Michael Burnham, all you have to do is make the request. If you make the request, we can get in as soon as tomorrow morning. Isn't that how it works, Father? And Michael Burnham says, "Yes, then I make the request. I really need to get in there." Of course, they have to also not violate the Prime Directive. Nobody else can know what really is going on. The kid says, "Are there any messages you want me to tell the gods?" She said, "Oh, you're running with us?" Says Tilly. She's like, "You've inspired." She's like, the father doesn't believe her. And he's like, you can't go on this. She's like, I'm older than you think. I promised that I'd protect you. She's wearing something of her mother's. The mother's already dead. You can tell that there's something going on. The father is not happy that she's going on this journey, but he's not able to stop her. And Tilly is saying she has a student back east. She says it's hard as a teacher to step back. She can only imagine what it is as a parent. And the kid is that her father's a great man. She just wants to show him what she can really do. Michael Burnham is talking with the Discovery. Adira did a historical regression. There may have been other weather towers in the past. They found 4 more towers. They sent the dots down. All the other towers failed. And the high summit is, the high summit, by the way. That's what's wrong with this tower. And it has some type of energy field blocking. It had some sort of energy field blocking transporters. Every week, there's some reason they can't transport to where they need to go. Oh, we've got Dr. Culber and Stamets looking at the brain scan, and it turns out he has a perfectly normal brain, and the doctors, so no long-lasting effects from the Jankara. No, the Jankara, you idiot. That wouldn't be a problem. Maybe you should ask for any long-term scans. Are you being a fucking mushroom man? That's the problem. You're not made of real blood. You're a mushroom man. That's what you should be worried about, not some fucking trill tradition that they've gone through probably 1,000 times. There's nothing dangerous about that. What's dangerous is you're not human. You're not a real person. You died and came back to life as a mushroom. How does that work? How do you deal with that? Stamets says, just fucking enjoy your life. The human brain is billions of neurons, the most complex things in the known universe. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Says, just enjoy it. Enjoy your life. Back on the planet, the race is about to begin, says Michael Burnham. She's talking to the old woman, and she ran. Her friend won. She's thinking what they might have looked like if they could have been old elders together. She says, you don't need to go to the towers to be with the gods. They're with us all the time. You don't need to run to see them. But Michael Burnham, she understands something she dreamed about her whole life. And the old woman says, okay, I get it. I'll pray for you. Tilly is like a little confused, like everything all right. And now legend tells us all of this planet was fertile. Now, to punish them, they brought the dust storms. So they're all eating something now, and her lungs filled with dust, and the thirst was terrible. And she didn't drink a single drop. She gave her water to her children. The gods were so moved, they brought back the rains. So now you're going to have to endure this test. May you remind the gods of the mother, of her devotion, their devotion and merciful rain. And already a couple of men, a couple of people, a couple of guys run up and drink some water. And he says, okay, you guys are disqualified, but nobody thinks any less of you. And now this is literally a race. And once again, Tilly and Michael Burnham, most interesting Tilly, is in an actual race. And time continues, and the only thing more surprised that Tilly didn't get an early lead. Michael and Tilly Michael has to stop. Tilly is running around Michael, doesn't stop running. Tilly says, they got to keep going. We're going to fall behind. And we see guys dropping out of the race, pulling over and drinking water. There's moss on the trees. Michael Burnham says, look at the moss. Some of it's blue, most of it's blue, but some of it's yellow. Isn't it? Something's controlling the weather for 800 years. It could be leaking radiation. And she's like, if she's right, this tree could lead to a control panel. Okay. So if they're wrong, so Tilly is the queen of endurance, she says. She tells Michael to go. Michael bails out of the race. Michael drinks the water and bails out of the race so she can go follow her theory. Okay, we do see a woman now coming out of the race. And it's Tilly. Tilly and the young girl are apparently the last people in the race. The young girl says, oh, don't give up now. Don't give up now. And she pulls Tilly with her. She's like, come on, you're the real competition. She stops Tilly from falling out. And Tilly says, I'm going to beat you. Michael Burnham is walking through the forest with this yellow colored moss. Almost looks like the yellow brick road, but she's using her secret in-eye tricorder, and she finds the control panel. It was hidden in a rock. She's scanning the control panel, and they bring it up on Discovery. It says the tech requires periodic maintenance. Adira says she's got to rebuild the motherboard without shutting it down by accident. And so Adira already knows how to do it. In the top left corner, you got to reroute, you got to change the chips. They're at the final two races, must complete the journey while carrying temptation like the mother did. So they both have been given bowls of water, and now they've got to walk the last few feet to the finish line, and everybody's clapping for them. Tilly and the daughter, the father even is clapping. The daughter, eyes are closing, and she's walking. Oh no, the daughter dropped her bowl. All the water is dropped out, and she says, oh, spilling your water is a disqualification. A racer cannot complete the journey with an empty bowl. It was a noble effort, Rava, but you didn't make it. But now Tilly is going back over, and he's like, come, Rava, come. And now Tilly is giving Rava her bowl, and she's like, it's over. No, Tilly pours half her water into Rava's bowl, and she's like, get up. Her bowl's not empty anymore. And she says, let's go meet the gods together, and takes Rava in her arm, and they both finish the race. Oh my God, Tilly, do you know what you've done? Do you have any idea what you've done? So now Tilly and Rava are both able to drink, but it's too late. Adira is still trying to help Michael Burnham. She's like, maybe we should get somebody else with more experience to help the captain. And Rayner, you're doing good. You're doing good, Adira. And Michael, so she's going to help Michael Burnham, need to bypass a circuit. She's like, just yank it out. And the device shut down, and now it clearly rebooted, and it restarted, and now they can beam into the temple. So Tilly's in the tower, but she doesn't see the clue anywhere. Father speaking. So everybody's fucking in the tower. I don't understand why they're saying right now, the father is saying, we're so grateful to you both. Your sacrifice will bless our seasons for many seasons to come. And Tilly's like, sacrifice? And Michael Burnham's like, Tilly, get out of there. And he's like, wait, Uva, wait. And they lock the door. No, now they can't get a lock. What the fuck? You've got the worst fucking transporter in all of Starfleet history. How is it your transporters suck that much that a fucking couple of inches of rock prevents them from being transported? And this is in a fucking tower that's a fucking mile above the ground. How is this fucking possible? Solid titanium. What the fuck? Apparently the air gets sucked out of the tower and makes it rain. Anyway, this makes no sense. There are holes in the top, and their air is being rationed, and there's giant fires. There are giant fires in the room. Put the fires out, Tilly. You're a fucking scientist. You need air. Put out the fire. Take your fucking giant robe off and put it over the fire. Don't worry, nobody's going to be looking. I promise. Or knock your little kid over the fires. Do whatever. You're a new friend. Oh, Michael Burnham. Apparently, Michael Burnham has discovered that, even if you can't beam him out, you can't beam Tilly out, but somehow they can beam Michael Burnham in. God, this makes no sense. Tilly says, what are these symbols? They're numbers. Tilly's like, I don't see any numbers. She's like, I thought you were a teacher. He says, I am. They don't teach ancient whatever this is language in the East. Tilly says, no, they don't teach it. He's teaching Tilly the numbers. 1, 2, and of course Tilly is on the 3. They're in the 3rd summit, 4, and the 5th summit. That's the symbol. The gods destroyed all the other towers. They only left this one. And now Tilly realizes there's another tower. That's why there's no clue here. The clue's in the 5th tower. Oh, now the girl doesn't want to die. I only took the journey to make the father proud. She doesn't want to die. Tilly says, it's okay. It's okay. Come here. Cry in my lap. The gods will figure out a way to spare us. And now the father is crying. The father is crying to the spirits of his wife. How could I have been selfish and forbid her from taking the journey? And Michael Burnham beamed right in and says, I need you to open the door. He's like, a vision, listen to me. And Michael Burnham says, I need you to open the door. Rava doesn't need to die. We're standing inside of the machine, says Michael Burnham. Michael Burnham literally beamed down and totally out there, ignoring the Prime Directive, being like, this is a fucking machine. Your daughter doesn't have to die. Just open the fucking door. And he's having a meltdown. Tilly is running out of air. The fucking fires, Tilly. Put out the fucking fire. Honestly, I don't want to say Tilly deserves to die, but somebody this stupid certainly doesn't deserve to live. Tilly's gonna sing some song, or no, the kid's gonna sing a song to Tilly as she falls asleep, which is code word for dies. Michael Burnham tries to work on the dad, tries to get him to open the door. What do you know, that song? She can hear it through the other room. The technology lets her hear what's going on. Reva remembers the mother singing that song. They don't want to die. They don't want to die. He asks, are you a god? No, I'm Michael Burnham. But she's very far away. She's from very far away. She's like, I need your help to save your child and my friend who'll die a needless death. He doesn't know what to do. He says, I don't know. I'm not a god, but maybe I was sent here. The rains will come, whether or not your daughter dies. Trust me, let them live. Okay. Now he knows that in the floor there was a valve to pull up, turn, and push back down, very similar to the ones that were the Enterprise E in First Contact, in the that needed to be removed for the Borg so the Borg would fly into space at the end of First Contact. And Michael Burnham and him get into the room very quickly, and they're able to give oxygen to Tilly and his daughter, and they beam him up to their ship, and he gets to see what the planet looks like from space. In fact, this is very much a lot like, oh no, I'm sorry, they're not on the ship. She was just showing him an image from the ship. Dr. Culber came down to the tower. I guess once he threw that switch, they were able to beam in. They're saying an alien race gave us the high summit to save us from the storms. He's like, why? She said, the Denobulans, they value everybody greatly, and they come from a world that had similar storms. So they saw your ship, saw your planet, felt a connection to it, and they built the towers. And you should know that the tower, the high summit, is failing. They fixed it for now, but it will stop working eventually if not maintained. But she'll show you how to fix it. So he's asking, but does this mean there are no gods? What is there if there's no gods? She's, no, is whatever you believe. Nothing is shown, nothing we've seen says gods don't exist. It's just that there's also us, she's saying. There's also us. He says, what do I say to my people? The sacrifices unite us. They help us see common purpose. He's afraid how his people will react. In the past, attempts to stop sacrifices have been met with violence and upheaval. She says, you'd be wise to consider it, says Michael. But there are people willing to move beyond the sacrifice. Honora, she finds order in your people's commitment to one another. She says, she told them the sacrifices aren't necessary to be closer to the gods. Maybe others are like that now. Beliefs can evolve. Denying that can cause as much chaos as the worst dust storm. And Dr. Culber is there and says, Rava, whatever, is going to wake up soon. And it's his opinion she should see her father when she wakes up. Tilly asks if we did a good thing. Michael says, yep. He says, what about all this paperwork you're going to have to fill out for breaking the Prime Directive? He's like, I'm about to make you happier that you saved me. Tilly says, oh, there's the symbol that's on the vial, the scratches on the side of the vial. These are the numbers, one for each of the 5 towers. They're in the 3rd tower. The vial, the towers, it's tower 5. And Rava waking up and says, Father, are you with the gods as well? And now she's afraid that the rains won't come. No, devotion means perhaps, maybe to hear when the gods are telling us something new. And he's still very proud of her. And you're so full of light and song, just like your mother. Sighs, a little crying. Michael Burnham and Tilly looking over. And the thunder is there. The rains have come. Now the lightning and the thunder and the tornadoes are coming. No, I don't see any of that. Just plenty of rain. It's raining through the tower. We see this big rocky tower. We zoom out, and everything is green, and it's a beautiful rain. And now we go back up to Discovery, and Booker is playing a video game on the screen of his spaceship, or not his spaceship, a Discovery shuttle. So Dr. Culber has brought up a whole bunch of food, a multi-course meal, replicator fresh, And he asks, why is he not playing in the holosuite? And Booker's, you can always tell it's a simulator. So he'd rather play video games. He'd rather play video games sitting in the shuttlecraft. But the thing is, these video games are all red graphics. They're like 8-bit graphics. Dr. Culber and Book just wanted to talk. He doesn't think Stamets is ever going to understand. Doesn't think he ever will. And Booker says, so why? What's the big deal? Dr. Culber doesn't understand. Dr. Culber doesn't understand why Stamets isn't going to understand in the same way he does. So Book understands. Michael doesn't understand what he was doing. And basically, Dr. Culber and Book, Culber and Book are bonding. I put yet another piece together that the doctor, it's like, how could he have known? Why would they have put the clue? They don't know what the idea is. They have to be careful when they find the next piece. And they just found out the USS Locker has caught up with Mal and Locke. And so they've got all but the last piece. There's one piece left of the clue. Mal and Locke were captured off screen, and Admiral Vance of Vance Refrigeration has requested the Discovery jump to Mal and Locke's location. And that's end of episode. Next week we'll catch up with Mal and Locke. So we had an entire episode, an entire week without Mal and Locke. So next week we're back up to Mal and Locke. Final episode, final piece. Anyway, that's it. This was a fucking boring episode as far as I could tell. There was a race. The fact that Tilly physically won another race, ridiculousness, as boring as fuck. I know a lot of people like Lord of the Rings, the first movie, but I did not. And this is clearly the same to me. This was a walk through the woods, and they all a waste of time for everybody and everything. Anyway, that's it for this week, guys. Qapla, bird, out.